Alrighty there, so this is just something a little bit different from my normal hobby chats that I've had on the channel so far. So one of the things that, well, one of the games that I really enjoy is Lord of the Rings, the living card game from the guys at FFG. And one of the sets that I've never picked up or played through, because my friend, I think, has all the Saga stuff for the traditional Lord of the Rings set, is the Hobbit stuff. So the Hobbit Saga is one of the boxes that was done by FFG quite a long time ago, and then they sort of updated it with the Lord of the Rings saga series as well later on down the line. But because I've been a little bit of a Hobbit and Lord of the Rings mood recently, I thought, hey, nobody has this set, so why don't I go out and pick it up? And so I just wanted to talk through some of the contents that you get within this particular expansion and some of my thoughts on gaming with it and giving it a go. So one of the neat things I wanted to talk about first is the different heroes that you get. So an obvious one that you're going to get in this set that's been out for a while, obviously, is Bilbo Baggins. So the Bilbo Baggins card is a little bit like the Frodo card that you get in the Lord of the Rings saga expansions, in that he is an additional card that goes to the first player, has his own set of resources, so he's got the little pipe symbol down the bottom, and if Bilbo leaves play, then the players lose the game. So he is incredibly important and influential within the game itself, and has some very good cards that we'll talk about later that make him even better when used in gameplay with his own set of resources and stuff. But he's also a fail condition as well, but absolutely amazing artwork, as you can see there once again from the team at FFG. Alongside that, obviously this is a Hobbit-based expansion, so this is all about the dwarves and Bilbo. So in the first set, which is Overhill and Underhill, you get Thorin Oakenshield. Now, a similar trait that follows all of the dwarves that you get in this set, we'll get to Bjorn later, is that they all have something to do with dwarf characters. So I'm going to be trying to go through this game using just this and the core set, because they're the two sets that I have personally. So it'll be very interesting. But if you've got the Khazad-dûm expansion for the Lord of the Rings, the living card game, then that would be a fantastic addition to this set, because obviously that focuses a lot more on dwarves themselves. So you've got one for each of the well, you've got 3 dwarves, one for each of the spheres, and then you've got tactics card as well. So you've got Thorin Oakenshield coming to the mix. So his thing is all about collecting more resources for having 5 dwarf characters. You have Nori. So after you play a dwarf character from hand, reduce the threat by 1. Really, really good, especially if you're trying to keep the threat down and you're playing it one player perhaps. Then you've also got Ori. So he's allowing you to draw additional cards. More cards is always good. Whenever it comes to card games, more cards is a massive benefit. And they all have a fairly good kind of threat value on them as well. Obviously Thorin is pretty impressive with 3 quest, 3 attack, 1 defense and 5 wounds. So he's incredibly good at kicking ass and taking names, but he does come with 12 threat attached to that as well, which is a makeup of all the different elements that you see there. The third of the heroes that you get in this set is a tactics hero, and that is Beorn. So no quest, obviously. He's a big fighty bear. Comes with 5 attack and 1 defense. Has 10 wounds. And then he has Sentinel, which makes him fantastic at defending for other people. Immune to player card effects, which is also incredibly good. And because he doesn't exhaust to defend, this makes him an exceptionally powerful addition to your collection, because you use him to defend and then you swing to attack the thing that just attacked him, which is pretty cool. So as long as you can keep him alive, he's a pretty impressive addition to your collection. So on top of that, you've also then got the 4 spheres of influence that you've got, and within each of those, you've got even more of the dwarves from the company. So you have Fili here. So you've got 3 versions of each of the cards in the set. So Fili there, which is cool. Then you've got Cram, which is pretty awesome. So it's good for readying attached heroes. Very nice. And then you have a very good tail, which is fantastic stuff as well if you're looking to shuffle through your deck to try and find additional bits and pieces. So very nice stuff indeed there. You also have, as I struggle with the cards, you also have your Will deck here. So you've got Kili there, looking fantastic. Again, 3 copies of that. Spare Hood and Cloak. Also another option for readying characters, which I think is pretty awesome. And the fact that it costs nothing as well. Nice attachment to give to your characters. And then Late Adventurer. exhaust a character you control that is not completed the quest to commit that character to the quest. So if you're lacking in quest to try and get additional progress on something, then you can throw additional character into the mix. So very awesome stuff. So you could throw, for example, Bilbo into something if you didn't have enough with him already. Although I imagine Bilbo's going to be doing a lot of questing as it stands. You've got your lore deck, so you've got Dory leading the way. So Dory can place the damage on him instead, which is pretty cool. So he can weather the storm, as it were. So he's a good person to stand in the way. Thror's map. Discard Thror's map to choose location in the staging area. Make that location the active location. Fantastic stuff. Great for trying to pick and choose exactly where you visit and get rid of the nasty things. And then expecting mischief. Play during the quest stage before the staging step. Deal 2 damage to the first enemy revealed from the encounter deck. That is pretty awesome, especially if you're going to be facing off against some nasty trolls and such, as you can see in the artwork there. And the interesting thing here as well, and it's something that you should bear in mind whenever you're doing anything with Lord of the Rings card game, is deal 2 damage to the first enemy. So it's not attack or etc. It's literally deal damage. So it goes through armor, as far as I'm aware anyway, which is pretty cool. And that's the way we've played it anyway in our games. You then obviously have the tactics deck, which is all about fighting stuff, although you do have some allies in here that have some good quest, actually. So you've got Bofa, who is good at shuffling through the deck to try and find weapon attachments, which is pretty awesome, especially if you're going to be finding some treasures in the early quest. You have Foe Hammer, which is an ability to... wow. After a hero you control attacks and destroys him, you exhaust a weapon card attached to that hero to draw 3 cards. So, for example, if you have Glamdring or Orcrist, then you can use that to your advantage. Very cool. And then Goblin Cleaver, which is obviously tied to Orcrist. Exhaust a weapon card attachment to choose an enemy engaged with you. Deal 2 damage to that enemy. Deal 3 if the enemy is an Orc. So very cool indeed. Very good if you're trying to hoe your way through the entire of the second and third scenarios, I think. So some very nice stuff there in all the card packs. Should give you an additional couple of cards that you need in order to make your decks. The focus of this is obviously to try and make a mixed deck. If you've just got the core set and this, you don't have enough to get to the 50 card max, or the 50 card limit ended that it's used for deck building. But if you mix 2 decks together, then you've easily got enough. I'll be talking a little bit about the kind of deck that I'll be using later on. But then, as well as the different sphere cards, you also have cards that are dedicated specifically to Bilbo. So you have Burglar Baggins. So Bilbo Baggins gets +2 quest, +2 attack, and +2 defense to the end of the phase. You may spend a pipe resource from Bilbo Baggins' resource pool to play this card, even if you do not control Bilbo. So you can make him badass, which is pretty fantastic. And obviously, because this is an event, you can use it in any of the different action steps to make Bilbo exactly what you need in a right moment. So as Gandalf would say in Lord of the Rings, there is more to this hobbit than meets the eye. Fantastic stuff there. Lastly, we also have a new version of Gandalf, which is pretty fantastic. So Gandalf comes in as an ally for the Company of Thorin. Comes in with 5 play cost, 4 quest, 4 attack, and 4 defense, and 4 life. But Gandalf does not exhaust to commit to a quest, which is pretty fantastic as it stands. But the other awesome thing about this particular version of Gandalf is that normally he'd be discarded. So yeah, at the end of the refresh phase, discard Gandalf from play. However, you can raise your threat by 2 to cancel this effect and keep Gandalf with you. So instead of Gandalf wandering off to go and do his own thing, you can actually keep him with the Company of Thorin and have him adding to the encounter. Obviously, your threat's going to be going up, but if you've been able to manage your threat nicely with both will and leadership cards, then you should be okay if you're diving into things. Or if you're playing tactics or lore and you've just been able to kill or stop a lot of stuff from coming through. So a very nice version of Gandalf, and again, fantastic artwork. So it should be noted that there are 3 quests in the first box, and then there are another 3 quests in the second box, which is on the doorstep, which is the second one of the Hobbit ones. I don't have that yet, but I'm going to be picking that up if this one goes nicely. I think I'll pick it up anyway because it's always nice to have options. So included within this set, you get 3 quests. So you get the one that is listed first off, which is We Must Await a Break of Day. And I have sorted this out here to play later. Oh, God, did I struggle with cards. God, man, it's hard to pick things up on a shiny surface. Oh, everything's all over the place. So, yeah. So, an unexpected party, we must await a break of day. So this is obviously the first one that you get. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but obviously, as you can see by this, roast mutton and dawn take you all. So this is all about the trolls that you encounter and Bilbo leaving the Shire. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show you the rest of the cards in this set. We'll flip that over. Oh, no, can't flip it over because it's all useful. But there are a bunch of really awesome cards that come with this, and these get added in later on to a bunch of stuff in other quest sets and saga expansions, and that is treasures. So in this case, treasures don't go into the deck, but they are found through specific conditions. And treasures, once they're obtained during the first quest, will then get added into your player deck at no additional cost to you during future quests. So if you fulfill the conditions, you'll get your hands on Orcrist, Glamdring, and Sting, which are obviously the weapons that were recovered from the Troll Horde in The Hobbit. And they all have specific effects that lead to either Gandalf or, for example, Thorin being absolutely badass. I really like that version of Thorin, and I kind of wish that was on the hero card, but there we go. And obviously you get Sting as well, which just makes Bilbo even better. So that one is specifically for Bilbo Baggins. This one works with Gandalf, but can also be given to another hero. And then Orcrist can be attached to any hero, which is pretty cool. So you can throw Orcrist around if you like. But this is a neat little mechanic that I think is really fun, kind of adds to the story of the game, and allows you to follow on as you go through different areas of the campaign, just sort of feeling like you're fulfilling a narrative, as it were. The second of the quests that you're going to be doing is, and I'm just going to check it out. Yes, so it's Over the Misty Mountains Grim. So that's included in one of these different sets. So I think it's this one here. So I think this collects some more of the quest cards here. So you've got a couple of different things here. And this one's quite nice, actually, because it's 2 quest decks at once, in that you play through the first one, and then once a certain condition is met, you play through the rest of it, which I think is really cool. So you get to dive in and sort of follow on from what happened after meeting Elrond in Rivendell and continue your journey. And then the last of these follows Dungeons Deep and Caverns Dim. And this one goes back to it being just one deck, but the neat thing that they throw into that is that you have a riddle deck. So one of the cool things about that is obviously about finding the ring, bumping into Gollum, and all sorts of different things like that, and escaping out into the wilds on the other side of the Misty Mountains. But the cool thing about this, obviously, is the riddles, and that's an interesting element of this that I'm going to talk about a little bit more when I dive into the game itself, and have a go at it, and once I've got through the expansion and stuff. So I'll come back and I'll tell you a little bit about how I feel about the mechanics for that. The actual thing that I wanted to talk about, just to finish things off for this video, which has been a little bit of a rambling tale, but that seems appropriate for it being The Hobbit, is that they have talked about different kind of decks you can build. And obviously you need the core set for Lord of the Rings in order to play this game. And the deck that I'm going to build is actually this Leadership in Spirit deck that has been suggested on the back of the book, because it's period specific, and it comes with a lot of dwarves. So it comes with Thori, Glóin, and Nori. So it uses Glóin from the original set, which is pretty cool. The older version of him, but still very awesome. And then it tells you the different cards that you need from both the start set and this one, and some attachments and that kind of thing. So I'm going to test this out and see whether this one actually does the job. Otherwise, I'll do a little bit of deck building and see if it works. The other side of this is pretty awesome. So it's got Gimli and Thalin and Ori in there. So it's got 3 pretty awesome looking dwarves, but you also get Beorn from the core set, which is pretty cool. So yeah, some 2 nice decks there. I think this is the one that I'm probably going to have a pop at, because I never really play Leadership and Spirit. Well, I play Leadership quite a lot, but I never really play Spirit. So I'm going to give this one a go and see whether or not that will work. There was one more thing that I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh yes, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this all comes together. And yeah, I will come back after I have played through An Unexpected Party and We Must Await a Break of Day, and let you know how it all came together and whether or not the quest was fun. Oh yes, the other thing I was going to say quickly before I go, I told you this was a ramble. So you can obviously play the game in easy, standard, and nightmare mode if you buy the additional decks. I'm going to be playing the game in easy mode just to begin with, because I haven't played in a while. So I took out any cards marked with the glowing ring just so that I would make things a little bit easier for myself. So just so you're aware, I'm playing it on easy mode, which is a little bit more narrative, a little bit more, a little easier on the fellowship, or the company, as it were, in this case. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on. If you've played The Hobbit Saga expansions, please let me know what you think of them. I'm going to be giving this this deck a go, this Leadership in Spirit deck, and yeah, fingers crossed. I am really hoping that Gandalf is going to make things badass. So yes, and I'll be back in another video talking about this very, very soon. Thanks, and oh yes, don't forget to like and share and subscribe. I think that's a thing you're meant to do on YouTube now, as well as checking out the blog itself for Because of Dragons, because I have a lot of written content over there. So if you've got this far through the video and you're still listening to me, make sure to go and check that out, and let me know what you think. Comment some of my articles and stuff like that. So yeah, bye for now.